Hi, everyone. Welcome to CE 222 in the summer class. I'm glad you guys could make this optional meeting of the first week meeting. I do want to have interactions with all the students, so thank you for coming by today. What we're going to do is I'm going to just do a quick introduction of myself, and then we'll go around the Zoom room here and get introduced to everybody else who's here. And then we'll talk a little bit about the class itself, the syllabus, and the first assignment that I have for you. And then I'm happy to answer any questions you might have as well. Okay, so first I'm going to introduce myself. This is Anurag Pandey. I'm professor of civil engineering here at Cal Poly. I've been here since 2008, so I've been here a while, but this is my first time teaching a summer class, which is a very different experience than teaching regular quarters. I have taught online as we all did during the COVID time in 2020, spring 2020. So I have taught online, but I've not taught from summer classes. And the other thing I realized in talking to some other students who are enrolled in this class is that there are a lot of students who are sort of freshmen going into their second year who are enrolled in this class as well. So I actually have not taught freshmen either. Usually I've taught this class, but those students were in their second year, towards the end of their second year, or their third year, whenever I've taught the 222 or the CE 321 and 322 classes. So that's about me. And as you're introducing yourselves, what I would love to know is, just your name and where are you from, and what year you are, what is your class standing, and then also, if what is your plans for the summer? What else are you doing other than taking this class in the summer quarter? If you're working on any internships and things like that, so I would love to know that. And if there are anything else you would like to tell me about, and then the other thing is, what else are there other disciplines within civil engineering that you're considering as sort of going deeper in? So if you're interested in sort of going deeper in structures, geotechnical, transportation, water resources, what if you've thought about that question, I would love to know which way you're leaning. Okay, so I will pause the recording for now, and I'll just kind of go around the room. Maybe Kelsey can start us, and then we'll go from there. All right, so so this is as you know, this is the introductory experiments in transportation engineering class. This is probably your first class in transportation engineering, and as I was saying, I've taught online classes. I've taught this class before, but what I haven't done is I haven't taught a summer class before, but then also I haven't taught so many freshmen before either. I mean, you are in second year technically because you finished your first year, all of you have, but I've never had even, mostly I would encounter folks who are in their third year or second year, end of second year in this class also. So this is a new experience for me. So thank you for being in this class. The first thing I want to touch on is that, transportation engineering is a bit of an odd one out in terms of other civil engineering concentrations, because if you think about the structural engineering, right? So a lot of that is, and I'm not saying there is no element of behavioral aspects at all, but I think for the most part, transportation is the one where you have sort of the most human factor is pretty prominent, right? So all the other disciplines like geotechnical or water resources and your structural engineering, they are very, very, how should I put it? They follow from physics. They stem from physics, basically advanced applications of physics in a lot of ways. But transportation engineering, because you have human users involved, and then it could be related to safety and design, like how you design things, how do you have to make sure that you get the behavior that you want from the road users. I think that's a very critical aspect of transportation engineering that doesn't happen a lot in the so it's more related to social sciences than any of the other civil engineering disciplines, right? So this is not just sort of pure math or pure physics. There is that component of economics, social sciences. All of that is fairly involved here. So, for example, if you think about, in structural engineering, we have factor of safety. We want to make something more safe, something that's less prone to failure. anytime you can do that within the cost constraints that you might have, you want to apply the best possible or the highest possible factor of safety that fits within your cost structure, right? But in transportation, we don't always do that. So think about if you design your roads to be never congested, never have demand exceeding capacity, that's not a good design for us, because then you're wasting a lot of resources. And most of the time, roads get congested during morning peak and during afternoon peak, and the rest of the time, road is not congested at all, right? So that's an issue. So we already designed for the 30th highest peak hour of the year. So whenever I'm trying to figure out how much green time I should allocate to an intersection approach with a green signal time, or how many lanes I need to provide, all I want to make sure is that I'm only designing for the 30th highest hour of the day, and not in the other. I'm not designing so I'm designing for things to be failing at least 30 hours per year, right? So that sort of is a different thing than you would see in structural engineering. You don't want failures to happen at all, right? Because that's not something we want to do. So that's an important difference, and this is not a discipline that some people really like that aspect of transportation engineering. Other people just say this is not for me. Either way is fine, but this is a required civil engineering class, so all of you have to take it. But something I wanted to point out right off the bat. Okay, and then one other thing if you are interested in sort of pursuing transportation engineering as your career option, as the concentration that you want to pursue within our program, I would strongly recommend that you take. I'll strongly recommend that you take you take part in the ITE activities. ITE is our chapter of Institute of Transportation Engineers. I'm sorry, as I was saying, if you are interested in pursuing transportation as a career option, I would strongly recommend that you look at the Institute of Transportation Engineers student chapter. They have a very modest fee structure, but then you get weekly food. So they have weekly meeting during the academic, weekly or every other week they have meetings where there is good food, not just pizza, but really good food from different food options, some great guest speakers, great networking opportunities, great travel opportunities. So I advise that. I'm the faculty advisor for the ITE student club. So I really enjoy that. So I would strongly recommend, if you're interested in transportation, you participate in the ITE activities, and let me know if you want to get connected with the ITE president. And this is, a lot of you are just starting out your second year or going to be starting out in the fall. So that will be a great opportunity to get involved with ITE. It's a wonderful organization at a national level, but then also at our student chapter, which is very, very active and has some great connections throughout the industry. Okay. Any questions about sort of how transportation is different, or ITE, or anything else you want to talk about? So my next steps are I'm going to go over the syllabus, and then I'm going to go over the first assignment real quick. But anything else, any questions that come up, please let me know. Okay. So one thing I would always say is that there are no stupid questions. Only bad questions are the ones you don't ask. So always, please ask questions if you have any doubts or anything. You can always put the questions in chat also while we are meeting. So that's gonna be good. And yeah, if you have any questions, please always feel free to ask. Okay. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with the syllabus here. Okay, give me 1 second. Share screen. So this is what your Canvas page looked like. I hope all of you had a chance to see that. The office hours are Thursday, 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And then you can also use the Calendly link in the syllabus if you cannot meet during this time. I have my Zoom meeting ID in there, so you can just directly connect it to that. And this is our syllabus. That's what I want to go over first. So all of this is a virtual asynchronous class, right? So we are always going to meet here on Zoom, if at all, but it's going to be mostly. So I'm going to have this type of meeting the first week of the quarter, right now, this week, and at the last week of the quarter. So those are our only two sort of meeting that I'm going to schedule. I'm going to sort of have the time options available like I did this week as well for the last week of classes as well, just so get a debrief of how it all went down for you. And one thing I want to say is that in virtual asynchronous classes, it's kind of hard to get the community going because we don't see each other in person anymore, and that can sometimes be a challenge for some of you. So please always feel free to connect to each other, reach out to each other, and always reach out to me if you have any questions or any trouble that you're having. If you're having some trouble managing your time, if anything you think I can help you with, just reach out to me. Anything that can help you perform better in the classroom, if there are anything that I can help you with, please always reach out. All of that will be on Canvas. I have some labs things that are going to be that I'm going to be talking about. So all of that is here. And one thing that I want to note about this class is that all the topics that we're going to cover, I'm always going to talk to you about, if you're interested in that topic, which technical elective, which advanced technical elective, you can get more in depth about those questions, right? So for example, the first lab, we're going to talk about how transportation history, how the interstate highway system evolved in the United States. So that's a question that we deal with a little bit more deeply in our sustainable mobility class, for example, right? That's CE 527. So I'm always going to put that in parentheses. So you could see that I have the CE 527 in parentheses. So when we talk about modeling and simulation, for example, and we have an advanced technical elective on that, which is CE 529. So I'm always, so anytime we're talking about that, I'm going to put like, CE 529 in parentheses, because I know that's where we'll talk about it. And if it's related to airport, then we have a class in airport planning and design, CE 525. So and then if you're talking about intersection control, we have a traffic engineering class, CE 421. When we're talking about pavement materials, that is the CE 521. So I always will talk. Oh, I'm sorry. This is 522. I should probably say this is. No, not 522. This, yeah. So CE 521 is that class, right? So that's the pavement material class. So always I'm going to relate it back to a future class that you might take to learn more about a particular topic. All of our grading in the class is going to be based on just your sort of, it's going to be based on your lab assignments. Some of those might be group assignments, okay? Beyond the class time, I think you should expect to spend about 2 hours per week on the assignments. So instead of like, in addition to watching videos and all that, you should probably take 2 hours or so. And because it's a virtual asynchronous class, I'm thinking you should be probably spending like anywhere between 6 to 7 hours every week on this class, right? So that should probably be maybe up to 8 hours at the maximum. So on this class, including all the readings, all the lab assignments, everything all told, about 8 hours or so should be way more than enough for you to work on this class. If you're spending more time than that, especially if you're in a group assignment and you're putting in too much time on a group project, that means something's not working well. So always reach out to me if you're spending more than about 6 to 8 hours. So this is 2 hours beyond the assigned class time. So I think this class would have gotten assigned like a 3 hour per week in a quarter system. It's a 5-week session, so you'll get about 6 hours, and then of sort of lab time, and then maybe 1 to 2 hours of time sort of working on the assignments outside of the class. So that's why I'm coming up with like 7 to 8 hours every week. If you're going way beyond that, that's not something's going off. So just let me know. So all of that is self-explanatory here. One thing I have at the end is that, we always obviously treat each other with respect and dignity. Just try to connect with each other as a community, and always try to connect with me as well. So if you're having any sort of issues with regards to inclusion and respect that you're facing, I would be happy to at least listen in and see what I can do to help address those issues that you might be facing. So please always reach out. And then last thing is academic integrity. Obviously we do not, Cal Poly does not tolerate cheating. Cal Poly does not tolerate cheating. And cheating is something, that's absolutely something that you must not do. But what I want to point out here, I think, is that cheating is not something you want to do, because this is your opportunity to train the brain to learn things, right? So when you cheat, you're basically taking away that opportunity to learn. Now, why is this opportunity to learn so important, right? So the thing is, Cal Poly's curriculum, as you might know, is very, very practice oriented, right? So whatever we teach you in the classroom, chances are at least some of that you will encounter when you're working as an intern, or when you're working as a full-time professional after you graduate. However, no matter how practice oriented we make our curriculum, we are never will be able to teach you everything that you need, that you will encounter in your work life, right? So in your work life, the most important skill to take away from school years is your ability to learn new things on your own after you're given some instructions. When you cheat, you basically are negating that opportunity. You're basically letting go of that opportunity. You're not taking advantage of that opportunity to train your brain. And if you don't do that, you can never be a successful professional. So that's why it's very important that you talk to your colleagues is fine. But just blindly copying their assignments, or having ChatGPT do your writing for you, I think those practices would be very harmful to your career, because you would not have trained your brain to do things that are hard, to do things that are, you will not give your brain the opportunity to have the practice to learn new things, right? That's the most important thing for me. So that's my sort of, spiel for you to not cheat in this class or any other class that you might be taking. Take advantage of this opportunity to train your brain to learn new things, okay? So that's basically all the discussion I wanted to have about the syllabus. I would love to hear if you have any questions or anything like that. There are no tests in this class. This is just lab assignment based class. No real exams or tests or anything like that. Your grade will purely be based on your lab reports that you're going to provide. So I'm going to pause here for a second and ask you if you guys have any questions. You can always type up questions in chat if you're so inclined. Okay. If you have no other questions, what I'll do is I'll take maybe a few minutes to just talk about our first lab assignment, which is due on Friday. And that one is right here, assignment 1 details. And this is due on Friday midnight. You're basically supposed to watch these 2 videos, and these are about 1 hour, 20 minutes for one, and then 45 minutes for the other. And then you're supposed to answer these questions. Okay. And then once you provide the responses to these questions, you can use the question answer format for this particular lab. And then you convert your document to the PDF and then upload the PDF by midnight on Friday. What we'll try to do is we'll try to have the labs due every Tuesday and Friday. And again, I'll have office hours on Thursdays. So if you guys have run into any questions or anything like that, I'll be happy to answer those. Okay. So there are 2 videos. One of them is about sort of the interstate highway system, how it was built, and how it sort of changed the society in the United States for the positive and for the negative. And then how the Boston Big Dig project came to be and what problem it was trying to solve. And hopefully you'll see the connection between the 2 videos as well. So watch the first one first, and then the next one. And then there is, on the second one, there is some design aspects, or some engineering design aspect, geotechnical aspect as well. But then also there is some social science aspects of what the problem the Big Dig project in Boston was trying to solve as well. So then you have 5 questions each. Hopefully you'll be able to answer those. And short answers, like I'm looking for like 1 paragraph, like maybe about like 100, 200 words each on each of the responses. So not a huge assignment. But that's all I had. Any questions or anything about the class that I can answer at this point? If there are no further questions, thank you so much for being here. Always reach out to me. One thing I would say is that, whatever we are going to try to teach in this class, I cannot guarantee that you can't find a YouTube video that explains that concept in an even better way than I can, right? So these days, all of these things you can find on YouTube, right? Specifically, if I'm trying to talk to you about signal timing and design, you can find a video on YouTube, right? But the advantage that you have by enrolling in this class, that you have access to each other, your cohort, and then you have access to an instructor who's been doing this work for about, at least in my case, I've been working on this stuff for about 20 years now, a little bit more than 20 years since I graduated with my undergraduate degree. So I have some experience in terms of researching these issues, some practicing these issues as well. So that's your big advantage. So always try to take advantage of that stuff by interacting with your instructor and your peers. I think that's the real value of a Cal Poly education. Not that you couldn't learn this stuff on your own, with online videos or whatnot. You absolutely can, but you probably can't get access to try to kind of come up with some questions and try to get answers from an expert, right? That's the hard part. That's sort of the more value add part of it. So always never hesitate to contact the instructor or your peers about anything. I always encourage those interactions. So please feel free to stop by during office hours between 4:30 and 5:30 on Thursdays, or just via email, use the Calendly link, however you can get in touch with me. Always feel free to do so. With that, I'm just going to stop. Unless you all have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.